Where's my lip gloss? Okay, found it. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jody and you're very much welcomed to watch my video. So I have not been the most active when it comes to YouTube, but I'm trying my hardest to come back to YouTube. That moment when you're starting a new platform, like for example, if it's TikTok, if it's Instagram, if it's YouTube, there's usually that weird phase where like no one will watch your content, and that's the phase that I was in. It's pointless for me to do so much or put so much into a video just to not get the views and not to get the kind of results that I would want. I know I struggle a lot with that, but that's something I'm trying to work on with. Let me not talk too much. Today I'm just here to show you guys how I do my makeup. And disclaimer, this is basically just how I do my makeup. I'm not a makeup artist. I'm not trying to teach you guys anything. This is not a tutorial. This is just how I do my makeup, and that's on period. Guys, please, if you're watching my video, please make sure that you subscribe, you like, you comment, and you share my video. I would genuinely appreciate it. First thing that I usually do is I always start with skincare, because I feel like when your base is really good, your makeup is going to look good. I have had situations where my base didn't choose to look as good as it does nowadays because I didn't choose to invest into skincare, but my face is on a weird phase because I'm breaking out. You can see I have a few guests here, and that's because I attended a makeup and sip kind of event, and I think someone accidentally used my brush and then returned it. I just have a very sensitive skin, so my skin just started reacting to it. The next morning I just had like, I normally like to start with the CeraVe cleanser. I usually use the hydrating one because we need moisture. That bitch is dry. I like to cleanse my face first, and I'm actually scared that I'm putting makeup on top of this busted pimple. But anyways, it's not the end of the world. Cleanse my face just to remove all the dirt that's on my face. I like to massage this for more than a minute. If you are putting the cleanser on and you're just washing it after less than 10 seconds, girl, what are you doing? So I've washed the cleanser off. Now I'm just going to start with my eyebrows. It's easier for me to start with my eyes because I usually don't like it when I'm doing like a cut crease and then I put on some eyeshadow and then they fall on my skin. I usually don't think I can solve that. The best thing that I would do is just wipe it off and just start it again. I'm just going to comb my brows into how they're naturally shaped. I have very thick brows, especially at the middle, and this brow looks like it's more lifted compared to this other one, and I'm just not trying to make them look like sister. I'm just going to make them look like cousins. So just to lay them down, because I have so much brows, I like laying them down because I know by the time I'm getting done with this makeup it's going to look lifted. And I like to focus a lot on the front because that's where my brows jeez, tends to lift a lot. I just comb it like that all the way to the end, and I like to go back in with my finger and just press it, just make sure that it lies as flat as possible. I'm just going to do the same on the other side, but you can just go back in with the back side of your brush if it's easier for you. Just going to let it dry up completely, and then I'm going to put on some pressed powder on top of it just to make sure that it's completely dry. This is like a black eyeliner, but I like using it on my brows, especially on the ends. I don't spray some setting spray on it. Spread it, and then I take this type of brush. It's like an angled brush, just lightly going through it. I'm just doing light strokes, and I'm just going to extend it to make my brow look sharp at the edge and to make it look thin at the edge. And also I'm just going to cover the areas where I don't have some hairs. I know you're scared that it looks black right now, but by the time I'm getting done with my makeup, the powdering, all that is just going, my brow is just going to look so different after I become done. All the way to the end. And I usually don't focus on being perfect at it because I'm just going to go back in with some concealer just to make sure that everything is in place. I'm going to take some pressed powder and just powder it down just to lessen how dark it looks like right now, because it looks very scary. Then I'm going to take my concealer brush and just wet it a little bit just to make it look a little bit flatter at the base. I'm going to use the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. This is the shade number 30, and I'm just going to put it on my hands. And I'm just drawing a line first before I go back in and spread that concealer. I know it's looking very light right now, but just wait, you will see the blending is just going to make it look more like my skin tone. Okay, so my eyeshadow is done. It's time to get into the skin work. I'm just going to take some wipe and just wipe out the parts where, like, I don't want, because I'm sure there's some eyeshadow which fell on top of my skin when I was doing this. So I'm just going to wipe out the excess product that fell on my face. For it as an eye moisturizer, it has a Korean name. I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, it has a Korean name. I've been using it for like a month now, and my base looks really good every time I use this moisturizer because I have a very dry skin, so I need to put more of like hydrating products on my skin. And I'm just going to be generous with the products, especially when it comes to things like moisturizer. I always have to be generous because I'm always concerned about my skin, because right now you can see I have some little guest on my face and it's kind of uncomfortable because I'm not used to like getting pimples, so I'm struggling right now. But basically what I'm going to do is I'll just use some color corrector just to hide the pimples and make sure that they're not too visible, especially on the camera. But basically I'm just doing this look for the purpose of YouTube. I'm also going to spread that on my forehead. Oh shit, I think in the mix now some of that concealer that I had used for my brows. I'm just going to wipe that out. Yeah, I'm going in with the sunscreen. I don't necessarily need to do this, but for the purpose of the video, I'll have to do some sunscreen. Because every time I put the sunscreen on my face and then if I can makeup on top of it and then I go outside, it looks really good. Now here, I like the fact that sunscreen inakupanga that ka glow. Like, it just gives your skin a certain type of glow when you're using it, especially on top of your makeup. But sijatumia mob because of course that's a waste of products, because I'm going to wipe it all off after this. But I'm just spreading it on my skin. Done with the sunscreen, and I think I'm just going to set my base before I put any other product on my face, because niko na hizi pimples and I'm scared that it might contaminate. So I'm using this Ruby Kiss hydrating setting spray. Most of the products that I'm actually using here are hydrating because my face is very, very dry and I need to make sure that I put more hydrating products. If I put really dry, and also I'm going for a mattifying look, so that's why I'm trying my best to hydrate my base. By the time I'm putting in the primers, by the time I'm putting in the primers and putting in those Nini texture blockers, I don't know if I'm calling them the right way, but basically the blurring primer, yeah, that's the right word. So that's why I just want to use more of So I had to go off camera and wipe off my makeup because I had forgotten to put on some primer before I started. I started with some Fit Me mattifying primer. This one mattes it down. It mattes it the fuck down. I like a very mattifying look, so that's why I always go with this ones. But now I'm just going to go back in with some Focus Smashbox. This is the blurring primer. One thing about makeup on textured skin, is going to look crazy, especially when you don't use something like a photo blurring primer, when you just don't blur your pores and you just go directly in with the products. That's not gonna look so good. I'm going to color correct this area where I grow my beards and my chin, because my skin looks darker around those areas, and I'm also going to conceal my pimples. I'm actually very scared of putting products on top of them because I'm not sure how they're going to react. The areas around my beards, that's where my face is the darkest. I'm using this LA Girl orange corrector, and I'm just going to go in with a sponge and just blend it out. I'm just going to set that down with some powder just to make sure that it doesn't transfer on towards my foundation. And I'm going to go in with some foundation. I usually use the Fit Me Matte and Poreless shade number 326, but what I usually like to do is I mix like 3 different foundation shades just to achieve my perfect one, because I feel like I am too discolored on some areas, and some areas I look very light, and I'm just going to mix that with some LA Girl Pro Concealer, most likely this shade because this one looks a little bit darker. I'm just going to blend down the foundation and just make sure that it's fully blended on my skin. I like using a brush sometimes and then go back in with some sponge, because I feel like when it comes to using a brush, sometimes your products might look not too blended, but I feel like it just depends with the technique that you're using. I'm not really a makeup artist, so I wouldn't be able to know, but I feel like I have mastered some of it a little bit. Like, I'm just learning as I grow. Oh no, I don't like how my skin looks like with the pimples. And I'm just going to use the rest that's still on the brush on my forehead, because I don't want to add any more products around, especially around my forehead. I don't like putting so much products because it looks very unnatural. Go back in with the sponge just to make sure that everything is completely blended down. I'm going to go in with some concealer. I'm using the Fit Me shade number 30. I like a very bright under eye. Wait, I have 2 concealers. Yeah, I'm just going to use this one. I like a very bright under eye, so I always go in with something that's like 2 or 3 shades lighter than my face, especially at the middle, and then I'm gonna put some at the end. Going to put some there, going to put some there, going to put some there, and then I'm going to put some there. And this is the reason why I usually don't mind using like a darker foundation, because already like I just like my outer face to be warmer and my inner side of the face to be more cooler and to look more brighter. And I'm just going to put some on my nose as well. And then I'm just going to blend the concealer after I contour my face. So I'm using the Ruby Kiss Contour. This is the shade number 14. I want my face to look more warmer. I'm also going to do that on my forehead. I know I look very crazy right now, but it's going to make sense. I'm also going to put some of that on my nose. I'm going to connect it with my brow. I ended up touching the concealer. Okay, it's time to blend the concealer. I'm using this tiny brush. Well, it's not really tiny, but I'm starting with the lower side because I want to move the products all the way to the inner corner of my eye. I'm just going to blend that and make sure that I look upwards. I look to the ceiling and just blend it under eye. And just extend it all the way. This just gives me a more lifted look. Back up with the beauty blender and just blend it out. Okay, I'm going to go back in and put some concealer at the middle and just like that sit down there. Then I'm going in with some blush, but I'm going to mix a combination of 2 lipstick just to make a blush because I don't have a blush. I'm using the Maybelline 50 Wicked and the 30 Unrivaled. Oh, that looks very red. I'm going to blend that quickly before it dries down. Going to go back in and blend that concealer. Okay, it's time for some powder. I normally start with some pressed powder. And I'm just going to put powder on my under eye, and I'm just going to tap off excess before I put it on my face because I don't want to look crazy. This is the Maybelline Fit Me shade number 330 in the shade number 330, sorry. And I'm just setting my face all the way. Especially my under, and then I'll look up and just make sure that I get everything. I'm going to use this as my bronzer powder. Just going to take that and lightly dab on my face. I'm just going to do that also here. Going to do the same on my forehead with just the same shade. And just try to blend it in with my concealer. And I'm going to take a smaller brush and get some of that powder and contour my nose. And just join it with my eyebrows. And just join it with my eyebrows. I'm going to go back in with some loose powder and eye. Going to brush off that excess.
Everybody's like he's no item. Please don't like him. He don't wife him. He one item. I never listen, no.
Some blush powder. I think I'm going to mix this and this because I don't like when I go too crazy with. Going to put some on my nose as well. I'm just using some pink blush underneath my eyes because I want to look pinkish. Okay, some setting spray. I'm using both the Ruby Kiss Hydrating Setting Spray and the Maybelline Poreless Matte and Poreless. I'm going to go in with, okay, this one was like a counterfeit makeup, but it's more of like purple. I'm going to take some Fit Me. This is the concealer. I like a very bright lippy. I'm just going to take a brush and lightly blend it up. Then I'm going to go in with some Maybelline Lifter Gloss because I like me a very glossy lip. Ooh.